Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of How to HR. We're on episode number 12. Hope you're doing well and having a fabulous day. It's a nice short week. I hope you all had a lovely Easter weekend. We had gorgeous weather where I was, which was really nice after the lack of summer that we had. And so I hope whatever you were up to, you managed to get a little bit of time off, and some of you may even be having some extended holidays this week. Certainly many of your team may be having extended holidays this week. So if that's you, enjoy. I hope you're having a great time. So today is episode number 12 of How to HR. For those joining us for the first time, hello and welcome. My name is Kristy-Lee. I'm the director and founder of the Footprint Group, host of the People Powered Business podcast, and founder of Your People Powered Business, the HR membership site for small to medium-sized businesses. Really excited to have you here. How to HR is our weekly live video series where I share with you a really simple snippet of information that's going to help you move forward when it comes to your team and your business. So this can be anything to do with how to engage people, how to motivate your team, how to hire the right person the first time, how to exit somebody, or anything in between. But today's episode of How to HR, we're recapping the recent changes to the casual employment definition within the Fair Work Act to help you make sure you are compliant with your casuals. Now, we covered this topic a few weeks ago here on How to HR, but it was all very, very new back then, and we've since received some further clarification. It's particularly important for small businesses to know about, that I wanted to share with you today and just recap why this is really, really important if you employ casuals within your business. So here's what we know. Excuse me, I just got off a very lengthy training session with my members, and so I've just lost my voice a little bit. So here's what we know. The background of all of this and why this is really important is back in late 2020, the Fair Work Act amendment supporting Australia's economic recovery bill entered into Parliament. Essentially what happened is back in 2020, government put together a range of different groups and committees to help advise on industrial relations reforms, because things don't always work as they should. Things are very much not in favour of businesses most of the time, and things are red tape heavy, the best way I can describe it. So all these little committees and groups did their thing and came together to put together this amendment. Now, look, many experts, myself included, felt that the bill failed to really reach its full potential. The changes that were tabled within the bill, we felt there was a lot more potential for real relevant industrial relations change, because these kind of things don't happen very often. So when you're going to do it right, make some real impactful change. Unfortunately, the bill that came to fruition and that ended up before Parliament was pretty light on in terms of industrial relations reform. There were 5 key areas of change proposed though. And we've been waiting for that to pass through Parliament, and there were many objections, there were many hurdles, challenges along the way, and what ended up happening was that only one change out of those little 5 that were recommended actually ended up passing. So the bill is tiny and only deals with one thing, which is casual employees. However, dealing with this issue of casuals was very, very important, because we had many issues of effectively double dipping. So you may recall, you may have heard about some claims that came through the Commission and ended up in various legal processes, where casual employees were making a claim that their employment more reflected permanent employment, and as such they were seeking back payment and compensation for leave accruals. Now, these casuals had, of course, been receiving the 25% casual loading, which is paid to casuals in lieu of the fact that they do not receive leave accruals. So these casuals had been paid with their 25% loading and then successfully made a claim that their employment was much more permanent and won, and they got those leave accruals. So they basically double dipped. So we had to make a change to really much more clearly define casuals in the Fair Work Act so that this would not be a possibility. And that is what has happened. We have a much clearer definition. It's very straightforward. And so I'm going to read the definition to you. And now, firstly, someone is deemed to be a casual employee under this new definition if they are offered work by an employer without a firm advanced commitment to continuing an indefinite work, without a firm advanced commitment to continuing an indefinite work, and that they accept that offer, obviously. So the offer must be without any firm advance commitment to continuing an indefinite work. Now, that person that accepts that offer on that basis is a casual, and they remain a casual no matter what happens with their pattern of work from that point onwards, because their offer of employment has been made with no advance commitment to anything ongoing, indefinite, all of those things, continuing work. Now, of course, the confusing term here is what on earth does firm advance commitment to continuing an indefinite work actually mean? Because it's a bit wishy-washy. So when a court would look at this, here's the things that they're likely to sort of have a look at and consider. Can the employer elect to offer the work, and then can the person elect to decline the work? So in this case, you're going to say, right, we need a casual, there's no advance commitment, and then the casual turns down a shift, and then you say, oh no, that's not okay, we need you to work every day. Well, that's not casual. That's implying a firm advance commitment. Whether the person will work as required according to the ongoing needs of the employer. So if there is that ongoing commitment, they're not casual. Whether the employment is described as casual, so you must be really clear in the offer and the employment contract. And of course, the casual loading. You need to itemize that in the employment agreement to really clarify that they are casual and they're receiving this loading in lieu of that. So that's the definition. It's much better than it was, and it does preclude that potential for double dipping. And we had that clarification when I covered this topic a few weeks ago. We've had some further clarification since around a couple of key issues. The first is around casual conversion, and the second is around a new document called the Casual Employee Information Statement. Okay, let's touch base on this Casual Employee Information Statement first, because if you're a small business, you need to listen up. This is a new document which is quite similar to the Fair Work Information Statement. So currently it is law that you must provide all new employees with the Fair Work Information Statement when they commence employment with you. Now, on top of that, so as well as that statement, you also need to provide any new casual employee with a copy of the Casual Employee Information Statement. So there'll be two documents you need to provide your casuals when they start with you. However, if you're a small business, and the Fair Work Act defines a small business as anyone with 14 or fewer employees, including regular casuals, if that's you, you need to provide this Casual Employee Information Statement to your casual employees now, your existing casuals, as soon as possible after the 27th of March. And we're already hurtling towards mid-April, so you must provide that now. That document is now available on the Fair Work website for you to download and give to your current casual employees. That's the bit that's changed that I really want to enforce with you today. Now, if you're not a small business, you have a bit more lead time, and you have until the 27th of September, Australian date, to provide that to your current casual employees. The reason that we have two different dates is because we have two different sets of rules around requirements for casual conversion. So what we have is one rule for bigger businesses and one rule for smaller businesses. And because the rule with the bigger businesses requires them to offer that casual conversion, then they're kind of covered off. Where small businesses don't have that obligation, so the employees must know that they have the right to request casual conversion. So when does this all start to apply? Okay, so the new rules that have come into place around casual conversion state this. If the employee has been with you for 12 months, so if they've been employed as a casual for 12 months, and for the last 6 months, their employment has been regular and systematic in nature, so they've been working regular hours, regular days, those kind of things, then there is an obligation around casual conversion. For small businesses, the obligation is that the employee can request it and that you must make that happen, unless there's reasonable business grounds not to, which is pretty rare. If you are a bigger business, so if you have 15 or more employees, you have an obligation to offer casual conversion once those eligibility criteria are met. So it's no longer that the onus is on the employee to request it. You now have an obligation to come forward and make the offer for them to convert to either permanent full-time or permanent part-time, depending on the nature of the regularity of the work that they're doing now. So for example, if you've got a casual employee who's working 3 days a week regularly, and they've been with you for 12 months, and they've been working those regular hours for the last 6 months, and you employ 15 or more employees, you need to offer to convert that person to permanent part-time. That's what the new law states. So there's different rules for small and medium to large size businesses. So it's important to know which category you fit into. And it's important to understand your requirements as to whether you need to offer that casual conversion or whether the employee in question needs to request it. And then you need to consider their request. Now, in all cases, if the employee wants to convert, you will need to convert them. There are very few cases, but if there are reasonable business grounds where you cannot do that, then you might be able to avoid that conversion. That would be things like there's no ongoing work. So say you've got a building company and you've got no projects in the pipeline. So the employee has been with you regularly they've been with you for 12 months, they've been working regular patterns of hours for the last 6 months, and they request to convert to permanent. But the project that they're on is due for completion in the next month, and there is no work in the pipeline beyond that. That would be a reasonable business ground to decline the request because you've got no ongoing work to offer them at this point in time. So that would be one scenario. So there'll be various scenarios where you'll have reasonable business grounds to not have to extend the offer or deal with that request in a positive way, but tread carefully because they're really clamping down on this, and unless the business grounds are reasonable, then the requirement will be for you to make that conversion away from casual and on to permanent. And for many of you, to be honest, it's financially better because you're paying less because you're not paying that casual loading. But of course, then you've got leave accruals and all that kind of stuff you have to manage. So I get it. It's not always ideal. So to recap, we knew a few weeks ago that the Fair Work Act amendment supporting Australia's economic recovery bill passed through Parliament. However, it was totally slaughtered in Parliament and only one change made it through, and this was the change around casual employees. We have a blanket definition now for our casual employees, which is that if the employment is offered without any firm advance commitment to continuing an indefinite work and the person accepts the employment on that basis, the person is deemed to be a casual. There's a few criteria you work through there, but that's what makes a casual employee. And once they're casual, that doesn't change unless they hit the point of casual conversion. We now know that this new casual employee information statement must be given to all new casuals effective immediately. And for small businesses, you need to give it to your existing casuals right now, 2 weeks ago, in fact. So right now you need to give that to them. If you're a larger business, you have until the 27th of September to comply with that. And if your employee's been with you for 12 months or more, and for the last 6 months, they've been employed on a regular and systematic basis, where there's been an established pattern of work, you will have an obligation to either offer them conversion over to permanent, either part-time or full-time, or if you're a small business, they have the right to request it. And that is exactly what the casual employee information statement tells them. That's why you have to give it to them. And if they do request it, then you need to either comply with that request or you can decline on reasonable business grounds. And there'll be timing that you've got to deal with that request and how long before you need to get back to them and all those little nuances. But the main thing I wanted to leave you with today is if you are a small business and you employ casual employees right now, you must go and give them this casual employee information statement. It's now available on the Fair Work website, so go ahead there and grab it and give it to your current casuals. All right, that is it for me from today. If anyone has any questions about casuals, please drop them under this video. If you're catching the replay or if you're watching live, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Now, also, if you'd like me to cover a particular topic in an upcoming episode of How to HR, please let me know. Again, just drop it below this video, send me a direct message, forward it by carrier pigeon, whatever you like. Let me know if there's a topic that you would love me to cover, and I would more than happily do that for you. Okay, that is it from me for today. Have a fabulous week, everyone, and I'll see you back here next Thursday for episode number 13 of How to HR. Take care.